Hello everyone. Welcome in. Let's see who is joining us today. We've got Janica and Fairy Freak, Nicole. Hello, welcome all of you guys. Welcome, welcome. And let's see, Life with Tuxedo. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm assuming that it's your puppy maybe. I love it. And Leah, Lisa, and Mark. I think it's Margaret. I'm not sure if I mispronounced that. I apologize, but welcome, welcome, Julie, Melissa, Faith. Oh, you guys, I can't keep up with the chat there, but welcome in everybody. Thank you all for joining us today. It is good to be back here with you guys. I was out at our home office last week and I was filming some new demo videos for you guys. So make sure to keep an eye on our channel here. We've always got new videos coming out and new information for you. So Greg was with you guys last week, I believe, but I am back and I am ready to do some super fun nails. And you guys, I redid my own nails. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I did redo my own nails. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do these on a live stream, but instead of doing them on a live stream on my own nails, I'm going to do the same exact design, well, basically the same design that I've got on my nails. I'm going to show you guys how to do that just on the practice hand today. And we're going to kind of adjust things a little bit. Usually on my nails, I've got our Synergy hard gel on there, which is what I've got on there. But we're going to kind of adapt this design to be done on a full cover tip. So it's going to be a super easy design and it's going to be great for beginners. It's going to be great for advanced. However, wherever you are at in your nail journey, this is going to be a fun design for you to learn today. So we are going to start by applying our full cover tips. And today I'm going to be using our full cover almond. So you guys can take a quick peek at these and see. So this is kind of similar to the length and shape that I've got on my nails, okay? Again, mine are the Synergy hard gel, but we're going to be kind of interpreting this design into a full cover. But again, you can see it's about the same length and shape as our full cover almond tips are. So that's what we're going to be using today. And then, let me set those off to the side. Let me show you the colors that I've got on here. Super pretty, kind of a rainbow, and we've got some Mylar in there. All right, so the colors that I've got on my nails, now you guys notice that I've got 1 ounce sizes of our glitter, and then I have a smaller jar. These are our older glitter, or they're still a current glitter, but it's an older packaging. Our glitters now come in that full 1 ounce size, so make sure that you're checking those out because you got much more glitter in the larger sizes, but I still just have old packaging, so disregard that. But the colors that I've got are Dragon Fruit, which is that super bright pink, kind of that red, not really reddish, but reddish pink. I'm going to say reddish pink. And we've also got Crush, so I'm kind of going in order as how I use them on my nails. But so Dragon Fruit, Crush, and then we've got Sunshine, which is that bright sunny yellow. And then we've got Shock, which is probably one of my favorite colors. I love that, just kind of that light oceany blue. And then the last one is kind of our purple, and this one is called Shock. So those are the colors that I have. Now you guys, I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember if I added a green in there. Now, I have another green here. It's called Incredible Green. I may or may not add that one in. I'm going to see how this combination goes. I can see kind of a green kind of right down in through here, but I'm not sure if that's how my yellow and my blue faded together. So we're going to kind of play it by ear with the Incredible Green. We may or may not add that, but those are the colors that we are going to be using today. And then I've also got a tray of our different Mylar colors. And what I like to do is I just take a little bit of all of the different ones, and I have just kind of my little catch-all down here. So this is, let me scooch that around there, you can see, oops. This is a combination of all of the different colors. So I just kind of like to put all of that together so I've got it all ready to go. So I'm not gonna just pick one color. I've got lots of different colors to work with. So those are the colors that we've got today. Oh, I think I broke my container here. Let's see if I can put that together really quick there. You guys, if you are interested in knowing kind of what we're doing beforehand, I do always post our the colors and products and things that we're going to be using. I do post that on our Discord server, so make sure to check that out before you come to our live stream, because that way you can gather all of your colors and you can work along with me. All right, and awesome, our moderators have our Discord link in there, so you guys can check out Discord, join us in there. Lots of great education in there, lots of good networking in there, so if you're new to the nail industry, it's definitely a great place to check us out. So head over there as well. But you guys make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here also. Stay with us, get all the great free education and all the amazing things that we're here to offer you guys on YouTube. All right, so we've got our nails done. I'm going to do 4 nails, so we're going to kind of simulate my 4 fingers here. So we're going to do probably 3 of our glitter fades, and then maybe 1 solid color. We'll see. We'll see how it feels. But when I start on my clients, I actually will shorten up those nails. So you kind of see I took down quite a bit of the length, and I'm just going through and just giving them just a little bit of shaping. Now, I do like to take down a good amount of that length so that it doesn't interfere with how my tip is going to adhere to the nail. I always find that having less of that natural nail is actually better, because that way it's not going to be interfering as you're trying to adhere that full cover tip on. So less is more when you're putting the full cover tips on. Take down that natural nail, get that out of the way, and then just give it a quick shape up. Again, it doesn't have to be a perfect shape. These aren't going to be our finished nails, so we're not actually going to see this natural nail underneath, but just so that you have kind of a smooth edge. And then I also like to kind of taper in those corners just a little bit so that they're not too wide on the sides. All right, I've got that cleaned up. So we've got our natural nails ready to go. I'm going to dust these off, just get rid of some of that dust. And then, you guys, usually I forgot one of my steps, but usually what I start with before I even clip down and start shaping those nails is I will push back the cuticles. And you guys, I got out of my routine, and I think I was just so excited to get to the nails. I got out of my routine, but this is why it's really important to, even on your trainer hand, go through and simulate pushing back those cuticles so that you always remember to do that when you're on a real person, okay? So again, just pushing back our cuticles, just really quick and easy. And so I would normally start by pushing back the cuticles, and then I would probably clip and shape the nails. And then let's go to sizing our tips. Now, I've got my full cover almond tips. So just like I was showing you a little bit earlier. Somebody's asking, stupid question, not a stupid question. Why do you have to cut the client's nails when you put on enhancements? That is actually a great question. So let me explain a little bit more on that. So when you're putting a tip on, so we're going to size out our tips, and we're going to find a tip. Oops, I'm going to drop them all over the place. We're going to size out our tips, find one that's going to fit really well. But if I come in really close here, you can kind of see, hopefully you'll be able to see, if you can see underneath there, you see how there's actually just a little bit of a space between that natural nail and the tip. I'm not going to worry about that for our application today, because we're going to be using our tip and jewel adhesive, and it's a little bit of a thicker gel, so we don't have to worry too much about that. But what we do have to worry about is sometimes as that natural nail does grow out, it's not a perfect C curve. It gets a little bit maybe kind of wavy, kind of at that free edge. So sometimes let me think, what was the question here? You guys, sometimes I get sidetracked. So why do you have to clip off the free edge? You want to make sure that your tip is fitting down as flush onto that natural nail as possible. And if you have a lot of natural nail extended out, you may end up with a little bit more of a gap underneath there. Okay, so that's why I like to cut down that free edge as much as possible. So I've got the best possible adhesion with that tip to the natural nail. And again, if that natural nail, let me grab one other one here just to kind of show you a little bit better. So if we put this one in and we try to put that nail on, it may not sit as flush onto that long free edge. if we keep that free edge there. By cutting that off, we have less area that we have to make sure that it's completely adhered to. I hope that makes sense. The other thing too is that you can kind of see we're using the almond shaped nails today. And if we left that natural nail underneath there, you can kind of see, let me come in a little bit closer, see how right through here that natural nail is kind of poking its way out. We don't want those edges to poke out. So again, that's another reason that we're going to clip that natural nail shorter. Okay. I think it was Mahite. I hope that answered your question. I hope that makes sense. But I really do recommend clipping that natural nail shorter so that way you don't have that kind of that extra nail interfering with your tip adhesion. Okay. Okay, so we've got our full cover almond shaped tips here. And let's see, we're going to size this out. So the one that I grabbed, this is actually a size 2. You can always see that size right down there, right at the tip, right in the kind of point of the nail. So this is a size 2. So when I'm sizing my tips out, I want to make sure that, first of all, I'm fitting the C-curve of the tip. So the C-curve, if you're looking from this direction, so the curve this direction, I want to make sure that that curve fits the curve of the natural nail. Okay, so if we were to take a look again down the barrel, you can kind of see, if we take a look down there, you can see that the nail that I'm working on is a little bit flatter than what the C-curve of the tip is. So sometimes you may have to go to a bigger size to make sure that it fits that C-curve. And then you can actually file off the edges to make sure that it fits from side to side and it's not hanging off the edges. Now with this one, I feel like this one actually, I think it's going to fit pretty well. I don't feel like I really have to press that nail down really hard to get that to set onto the nail. So I actually feel like this C-curve is fitting pretty well. But if we go to a smaller size, let me check a smaller size. So a smaller size, again, if we take a look, I'm going to look backwards down the barrel this way. You can see that this one, it's not quite sitting flush down there, and I do have to put a little bit of pressure to make sure that that tip really sits flush down onto that nail. Now, it's not a lot of pressure, and I think with using the gel that we're going to use to adhere our tip, it is going to fill in kind of that little bit of space in there. And this one is fitting really nicely from side to side. So if I hold that onto the nail, you can see that tip is coming all the way from one side all the way to the other. So I think this one is actually the one that I'm probably going to use. So this is a size 3. So again, if we check that little number right in the point there. So that's a size 3. And just to check one size smaller, let's go to a size 4 just to see. So again, we got size 4. Now size 4, this one, it still looks like if I were to really press that on there, then it would fit. But do you see how much pressure, and I mean, you guys, maybe you can't see the pressure that I'm using on our camera here, but you can see that I actually do have to push down to get that nail to set down on there. Now, what can happen is if you're having to put too much pressure on, these nails like to keep their shape. So what can happen is as you're applying that, or even as you're curing it, or even through just wear, it can actually pop back up, and we don't want that to happen. So again, we want to make sure that that C-curve is fitting really nice and kind of comfortably without having to put a lot of pressure on there. So I think we're going to go back to our size 3, and I think I do like how this one's fitting. Okay, now you can come back and customize these a little bit if you need to. And what I mean by customize is, say this one didn't fit quite so perfect around the cuticle area. If I kind of push that back, you can see it is hanging off just a little bit around that cuticle, kind of around those edges. So what I can do is I'll just take my file and I'm just going to come around and just kind of customize this. Now, when you are working with full cover tips, I highly recommend customizing them to make sure that they're not hanging off the edges anywhere. And this is how they're going to look. I always say they're going to look more natural. You guys, I know these are not going to look natural, but they're going to fit a lot better so that they don't look like a press-on. Okay, they're going to look more like a full enhancement. And so again, just kind of cleaning up around that edge, just kind of tapering that in just a little bit. And you can see there's a little bit of a frayed edge. And usually I like to use my 180. This is our file buffer combo. So it's got the file on one side, it's got the buffer on the other. So I can use that 180 file to kind of clean up around that cuticle area. And then I'll just kind of lift up that little frayed edge and use the buffer to go through and just kind of buff off and clean up that little frayed edge. So let's take a quick check on this one. Now if I hold that, you see how it's a lot more clean right up around that cuticle area. I don't feel like it's hanging off anywhere. It's really fitting right up into that cuticle area nice and evenly, okay? So we've got our first nail. Now, on a real client, all 4 of these nails are probably going to be different sizes. Otherwise, sometimes the middle 3 nails can be close in size. And a lot of times your pointer and your ring finger tend to be the same size. So you can kind of keep that in mind as you're sizing out the nails. But you do want to check and make sure that whatever size you choose is going to fit perfectly. So again, you may have to customize a little bit. Now on our trainer hand, they're all one size. So I know that on all of these nails, it's going to be a size 3. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple more size 3s. And we'll go through and we will customize these and make sure that they fit. So 1, 2, 3 more nails. Okay. And then I can set my box of tips off to the side here. So I'm going to do the same thing. Now, as I work, I want you guys to kind of notice this. And let me move this up because I think this may be right where all of the chat is scrolling. So I'm going to move this up a little bit for those of you that are watching on your phones. I set my nails out in the order that I'm using them. So this is the first nail that I sized out to the pointer. I'm going to set that right down here. Okay, I'm going to take my second nail. We're going to check that one. I'm going to size this one out and do my little bit of customizing around the edge. Clean everything up around there. Make sure everything is nice and even. Make sure nothing's going to be hanging off the edges. Let's take a look there. Okay, I think that's looking good. I am going to clean up that little bit of a frayed edge. So same thing I did on the first nail. Clean out that dust from the back. I'm going to set that one down right next to that first one. So again, this is for my first nail. This is my second nail. My third nail is going to go right next to that. So again, keeping things in order so that you know exactly what nail or what tip is going to go on what nail. Because as you're working, again, remember that not all of the nails are going to be the same size. Not all of the nails are going to be the same shape. You guys, if you take a look at, all right, we'll show you this one. You guys, my cuticles are really dry. I didn't get my oil on here before we started, but on this nail, you can see that my cuticle area is a lot more rounded, whereas on my thumb, it's a lot more square. Okay, so make sure that you are customizing those so that you're not trying to put, let me grab one more of these here, so that you're not trying to put a rounded nail, a rounded tip into a curved, let me say that different, so that you're not trying to put a curved cuticle area into a flat nail. Let me show you, because I don't think that made sense. So if you take a look, do you see how rounded and how curved that tip is? I don't want to put that right up to my cuticle area here because that's going to already look fake. Okay, I would take this tip and I would definitely customize this and make a little bit more of a flat cuticle area so that this one would actually fit a little bit more into my natural cuticle area. Okay, so again, take off that little bit of frayed edge. So now you can see, if we put that up in there, that's going to fit a lot more, a lot better right up into that cuticle area. Okay, so again, making sure that you are customizing these for each specific nail. And whoops, let's see, this one was the one I was working on for here. Okay, so that one is looking good. And again, I'm going to take out that little bit of frayed edge using my buffer side of my 180 file buffer combo. And again, I'm going to set that right in line. So that's my third nail that I'm going to work on. We're going to check this one, same thing. Let's clean up those edges so they're not hanging off. coming up around. And Cutting Edge is asking, how far do you place it from the cuticle to prevent a ledge? Guys, I'm going to show you exactly how to apply these tips so that you don't get product on the skin, so that they are a little bit more flush down to that natural nail. So stick with us. I promise I'm going to show you guys all of that. But that's a great question, because it is important to put your tips on, especially these full cover ones. You want them as close to the cuticle as you can get them without leaving too much of a gap, but you still want to be able to kind of blend them out just a little bit. And I'll take you through all of those steps. Now, let's go back and we're going to prep our natural nails, and we're also going to prep the well of our tips. So actually, I've got a couple extra miscellaneous tips here. I want to make sure that I clean those away so that I'm not mixing them up with the ones that we are going to be using. So let me just set some things off to the side. And I'm going to scooch these down just a little bit out of my way for now. We'll come back to those. All right, so we're going to go ahead and prep our natural nails. So we've already pushed back the cuticles, and we're going to go through with our electric file, and we are going to, oops, I still need that bit actually. We're going to prep that surface. Now I'm going to take that old sanding band off of there, and I'm going to grab a brand new sanding band, and we're going to change that out. And you always want to make sure that you're using a new sanding band, whether it's on yourself or on a client or even on your trainer hand. Always change that out so that you have a really good bit. It's going to have the proper grit to it, and you're not going to be using an old worn down bit like this one is. Okay, now those of you that are kind of regulars to our channel, what do you guys notice about the e-file that I'm using today? I'm actually not using our traditional desktop e-file. So this is the one that I kind of use on a regular basis. But today I did want to show you our portable e-file. And if you guys haven't seen it or haven't tried it yet, you're missing out. It is an amazing tool. It is cordless. It does plug in, and I did have it plugged in and charging a little while back, but it can be recharged and used as a portable. So it is an amazing tool. And so I'm going to just kind of show you some things as I'm working with it. First of all, you guys, make sure that you have that back plug plugged in fully. I've had a lot of people, contact us saying it's not working, and then they make sure to plug it back in, and then it works. So I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that people have had with this e-file, is that it just, that back plug can come out. So make sure that that's plugged in. And same thing with that cord up to the battery pack. Okay. Now, when you're working with this, you're going to turn it on. It's got the little dial right in the center. Just hold that down, and then your blue lights are going to turn on. Now, you guys, on camera, it looks like they're flashing, but they're not actually flashing. So they don't flash when it's on. And it kind of automatically goes to the right-handed position. So if you're left-handed, turn your speed down, and I'll show you guys that in just a second. But turn the speed down and then press the button, give it a click, and that'll change the direction. And I always recommend having your speed turned all the way down before you change the direction, so that it's not, going at 10,000 RPMs and then you throw it into reverse. Okay, it's kind of like your car, you guys. You don't want to be going 80 miles an hour down the highway and then throw your car into reverse. Same thing. Always turn your speed down on your e-file before you change direction. Okay, now here's something that I've done on my little handpiece here. It doesn't, let me come in a little bit closer here. So this little dial is how we adjust the speed. So I'm going to turn that dial up. So you're going to see that as I turn that dial, it's going to start the rotation. So it doesn't have numbers on here so that like what speed it's going. So what I did, I actually took a white chalk marker and I just drew a little line, so right at the base here, so that I know that one turn or one rotation is going to be, that's going to be about 5,000 RPMs. That's going to be your prep speed. Okay. I drew another line on there, again with the white chalk marker. One more rotation is going to be your speed for taking down bulk of product. So this is just something that's helped me. You can see I've done one more line on there. You're never going to be turning it up that high. You don't need to go that high with this e-file, but it does help to have those little lines so you kind of know exactly where your speed is. So again, one rotation or one kind of from bottom to top, that's going to be your prep speed, which is about 5,000 RPMs. So just a quick little trick. I know that's definitely a question that I've gotten a lot with this e-file as to how do I know what my speed is. So that's my little trick for knowing exactly where my speed should be, okay? All right, so again, let me turn this back down. So we're gonna turn our speed up to about 5,000 RPMs. And we're, whoops, bump that, there we go. Okay, so we're just gonna take our bit, we're gonna come right up around, whoops, let me, hang on one second here, guys. I think I am in reverse here, hold on. Let me just make sure really quick. All right, so I'm gonna turn that back on. Make sure, okay, so we are good. All right, so again, I wanna make sure that I'm at that one rotation, and then we'll go ahead again, up into that cuticle area, and then we're just gonna feather through, just gently removing the shine. We don't have a lot of work to do here. We're not trying to cut anything. Actually, I think I'm gonna turn this down just a hair. So maybe oops, not quite that more. There we go. Sorry guys, there you go. So just a little bit below one rotation. So again, just coming through, flowing all the way through there to remove that shine. And you guys, every e-file is calibrated just a little bit differently. So if you're used to working on one e-file, and like for me, we have one of these at our corporate offices that I use, and then I have this one here. So this one was just slightly different, so just slightly less than one rotation. So you can kind of get the feel for your e-file as you use it, but you do want to have a little bit of a gauge to kind of let you know exactly where you are, where your speed should be and how that should feel. As you get more used to your e-file, you are going to just kind of know by feel. But if you're a beginner, you definitely want to have kind of an indication of how far you should be turning that up or down, okay? So that's all we really needed to do for our prep, just going through gently removing the shine. And then I'm going to turn my e-file off. I'm just going to hold that button down, and that's going to turn my power off. But you guys, this e-file does have a good amount of power to it. So even though it is portable, doesn't mean that it's just a cheapy little something or other. It is a great e-file, whether you are a full-time tech or just I shouldn't say not just an enthusiast, a full-time tech or an enthusiast. It's a great tool, even for working on yourself, actually, especially for working on yourself, because that way you're not dealing with cords and things like that. So great tool. And it is on sale right now, you guys. I forgot to mention the best part of it. We are having a huge sale right now on our website. So check out that e-file. It is in a bundle with, so you get the e-file, you get a ceramic bit to go along with that. And there are 4 different gel polish colors that come with that bundle. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. I think our moderators have our website here pinned in the chat for you as well. And everything on the website is at least 30% off. So you guys, you can't go wrong here today. All right, so we've got our nails prepped. Oh, one other thing. Sorry, you guys, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So we prepped our natural nails, but we also want to prep the inside of the well. So when we're putting our tips on today, we're going to be using our Tip and Jewel Adhesive Gel. So a gel has to stick to either a textured surface or a tacky surface. So right now, what we have is a very smooth, shiny surface. If we tried to adhere our gel onto that shiny surface, it's going to pop right off. So we're going to take our e-file again, and I'm going to stay right about that same prep speed. And I'm just going to go through and just gently remove the shine from the well of that tip. And I want to make sure that I've removed the shine from everywhere that the tip is going to adhere to that natural nail. So we were talking earlier about, whoops, sorry guys, there you go. We were talking earlier about shortening up that natural nail. Here's another reason that I like to shorten up that natural nail. because we're going to apply this tip all the way down to the end of the natural nail. I actually have to take out a little bit more of the shine right through here, but if that natural nail were coming even farther out, we would have had to remove the shine probably all the way down to here. So that's another reason that I like to shorten up the natural nail, just so we don't have as much work to do when applying the tips. So just taking a little bit more of the shine out, and we'll check that one more time. So still just a little bit more. And again, going back in with that sanding band, and this is a medium sanding band. It's about a 150 grit. And we'll check that one more time. All right, so I think we are good there. We're going to go through all of the rest of the nails. Same thing. Excuse me. Oh, you guys, I think my throat is getting a little dry. Hang on one second here. I apologize, you guys. Let me grab a sip of water. Okay, much better. I apologize for that. Sometimes I do too much talking and my throat gets a little bit dry. But let's go ahead back to our nails here. So this was our second one. Again, just prepping through, removing that shine all the way through the well of that tip. And then once more checking, making sure that I've got the correct length. And I think just a tiny little bit more right down in there. Okay, so that one's good. Same thing here. And you guys notice that as I work, I do try to work in kind of a pattern, so kind of a routine. So I do all of the same things all at once. Notice that I didn't size out one tip, customize it, remove the shine, go to the next one, size it, customize it, remove the shine. I do everything all in sets. So that way it's going to take me less time because I'm more focused on one thing at a time. So again, do everything kind of in a routine. So that way you're going to know exactly what you need to do next, and you're going to have a lot more of kind of a flow to your service. Okay. All right. So I think we are good to go here. Everything is sized out. Notice I still have my nails laid out in the order that I'm going to use them. So I've got those ready to go. I'm going to dust off my natural nails. And then we're going to cleanse these and we're going to apply our bonder. Now, notice that I didn't do my cleansing and bonding until I was done with all of my filing. The reason for that is so that this way I don't get any dust onto that nail and have to clean them again and apply my bonder again. So going in order is going to make things much easier. Okay, we're going to grab our swipe, and swipe is our cleanser. I'm going to pump a little bit of that onto my manicure brush, and we're going to go through and we're going to dust off those. Actually, we already did dust off the nails, but we're going to cleanse that nail, get all of that, maybe those little tiny little dust particles off of there. But this is also going to help to remove any extra oils that are in the surface of the nail, and it's also going to take care of any bacteria that might be on the nail. Let me just add a little bit more in there. So it's going to cleanse that nail really well, leave it with a nice, clean, dry, germ-free surface to adhere our tips onto. Okay. Then we're going to grab our protein bond. Protein bond is a bonder. It kind of works like a double-sided tape. So it's going to stick down to this natural nail, but then it's going to leave a sticky surface. So if you take a close look here, at this point, you're going to see that that nail does have some texture to it. It is nice and dry. After we apply our protein bond, it is going to stay sticky, and that's exactly what we want. We want that sticky surface for our product to adhere to. And as I work, again, I have kind of my routine. So I'm going to come in with my protein bond. I'm going to start in the center of the nail, brush that out to the sides, and then I'm going to work back towards my cuticle area. Same thing, start from the center, brush out to the sides, brush back to the cuticle area, and I just kind of sweep around that cuticle area. So the more of a routine you get yourself into, the easier things are going to go and the faster you're going to work. A lot of times, especially beginners, get very frustrated because they think it's taking them too long. And I think a lot of times you really have to learn the techniques first. You have to learn the process, and then you can learn to do everything fast. So if you're new, whoops, I think I skipped a nail there. If you're new to doing nails, don't panic so much about your speed. Do more work on perfecting the techniques, perfecting the nails, and then you can work on doing them faster, okay? Because you can't do something fast if you don't really know what you're doing. So just give yourself a little bit of grace and don't stress too much about it. Now notice I did 2 coats of our protein bond. Anytime I work with any kind of gel or acrylic, I do, and you guys, this is a soft gel, but I still consider this an enhancement. So anytime I do an enhancement, either acrylic, hard gel, or a full cover tip, I always use 2 coats of my protein bond. I feel like it just gives you the best adhesion possible, okay? All right, you guys, if you're enjoying our lesson today, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you can join our community, you can get great free education, and just be part of our community. All right, so we've got our nails prepped, we've got our tips prepped. I've got my tip and jewel adhesive. And if you guys haven't worked with the tip and jewel adhesive yet, it is a very thick gel. Okay, it's not gonna really run and flow a whole lot. You may see it kind of just start to move just a little bit, but not much, okay? This is what I'm gonna use to adhere our tips. And what I'm gonna do, first of all, I'm gonna make sure that I don't have any dust in there. So making sure that that's nice and clean. I'm gonna use our, let me come back out so you can see this. This is our dual-ended brush and spatula. So it's got the little spatula on one end, it's got the brush on the other end. I love to use this one for our full cover tip applications because I feel like it works really, really easily. Now I'm going to show you guys something really quick here before I put that back on there. A lot of times I do see people use their tip and they'll scoop out a little bit of that gel onto the tip and then they apply it from there. Now this is a great technique, but personally, I actually like to use that spatula instead because I feel like I have a little bit more control as to where I'm putting my product. A lot of times, if I use that technique where I do just scoop it out onto the tip, I tend to feel like I get a little bit of product squeezing out my edges, and then I have to do a little bit more cleanup. So with this, I just took a little scoop of my product. Let me come in a little closer. So I take a little scoop of that product and I set that right down, right at the edge of where we took that shine off. Press it down and just kind of slide that back, kind of scraping it off of that spatula. And then I can work that out towards the sides. Now I don't bring it all the way out to the side because what I want to happen when I put that tip on, a little bit of this gel is going to squeeze out to those sides. And if I brought that product all the way to the edge, a little bit of that product would squeeze out to the sides and it could potentially get onto your skin. So we want to make sure we're keeping our product off the skin. So that's why, let me see if I can come in really close here. You can kind of see there's a little bit on each side right through here, and then just a little bit on the side right through there so that it's going to just make its way out to the edge, but it's not going to squeeze out the side. Okay, I think somebody's asking what is on my nails. You guys, I'm actually showing you exactly what's on my nails, or maybe not exactly. An interpretation of what's on my nails is what we're going to be doing on these tips today. Okay, so stick around with us and you'll be able to see that beautiful design. Now, when we're putting the tip on, if you guys take a look at this from the side, I'm not just going to press that tip on flat. If you just press that right down, a lot of times what happens is you're going to get air bubbles, okay? So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to start at a slight angle, and I'm not going to put the tip right at that cuticle area. I'm going to start with it just a little bit away, and then I'm going to set it down and slide it back. So again, this way is going to keep me from getting any of that product squeezing out the end. Okay, now I'm going to turn this and show you exactly what I'm going to do from the direction that I'm looking. Okay, so again, starting at that angle, I'm going to set that tip right down, And you'll see how that gel kind of connects underneath. So set that down, slide that back just towards the cuticle, and then I'm just gently gonna rock that down, pressing that product, and you can kind of see again how it's kind of connecting right through here, pressing out any air bubbles. Now, do you see how it's kind of separating a little bit back at my cuticle area? Put a little bit more pressure at that cuticle area, and then we're gonna hold it there. And I almost forgot my light here, you guys. Hang on a second. All right, so I've got my touch cure light. Now I'm gonna just let go of that for just a second so you guys can see exactly what I've got in front of me here. So this is our touch cure light. It is on a stand, so you can kind of adjust where it's sitting. I do want to turn that up there. So this is what I'm going to use to set our gel into place. Okay. Now, as I let go, you can kind of see. Let me come in a little bit closer here. When I let go, that nail did start to kind of pull away again. You can kind of see that pocket in there. We're just gonna put a little bit of pressure right at that cuticle area so my cuticle area doesn't lift up, but then I'm gonna put a little bit more pressure right towards that free edge to press out that pocket and slide that back. All right, so I think we are good there. Actually, you guys, I don't know, can you see, you can see that on camera. See how there's a little bit of an air pocket right back through here? I'm just gonna try to press that down, press out that air pocket, but it's actually not going away. So when I let go of that nail, it kind of popped up. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna kind of put pressure at my cuticle area, slide that tip all the way off, removing that gel with it. So if that happens, it's okay, don't panic, just press down, slide that tip off, and you can try again. Okay, so same thing, press down, slide back to the cuticle area, rocking that down, pressing that product down towards the end, pressing those little air pockets out to the end. Now I did get a little bit of gel squeezing out the back side there. I'm going to use my little tool here to clean that up. And then we will secure this down onto the nail. All right, I think we're good. So I'm going to turn on my touch cure light. We're going to set that nail into place. And when you're working with the touch cure light, you really only have to cure it, I would say about maybe 20 seconds or so. And you can see on the light, it does have a little timer on there. So it's been about almost 20 seconds now. And then we will tap the end of that light, turn that off, and our nail is set on to our tip is set onto our nail now. Okay, now it's not fully cured, so we do want to do a full cure of this, but we're going to get the rest of these nails on, and then we'll fully cure them in the light. So we're going to go back to, let me grab this here, coming a little bit closer. So we're going to go back to our next nail. We're going to adhere this. Same thing as we did before. We're going to take a little scoop of that gel. And let's see, somebody's asking, why do some people place the nail further from the cuticle and not like how you're doing it? Depending on the service that you're doing, if you are going to maybe put, say, acrylic or hard gel over the surface of this, I would actually bring my tip down here so that I had more of the acrylic or hard gel filling in the back area. But what we're trying to do is just a full cover tip application. And so that's why we're starting at that cuticle area, okay? We want this to just be, just be the full nail. But again, if you were going to build up with acrylic or hard gel, you would start it a little farther down and then fill in that back area. It's just a different technique, a different option for doing the nail. So you can definitely do that. But again, this is definitely something that we're just gonna do our full cover tip today. We're not doing a full enhancement over the top. But same thing, I'm going to set that gel down, slide that back towards the cuticle, making sure it's not coming all the way to the edges, but getting a little bit closer to that edge. And again, if I need to, I can use that brush to just kind of touch up, clean up around that cuticle area there. And then, same thing, we're going to start a little ways from that cuticle, touch down, slide back to the cuticle, and then rock that down, pressing out any little air pockets all the way to the end. turn on my touch cure light, and we'll freeze that into place. Again, you guys, I don't know if you can't see on camera, but I did move my jar of gel away from my light. I want to make sure that my gel is not under the light because it will cure in the jar. So make sure that as you're working, make sure you keep your brush, keep your jar of gel away, keep everything that you don't want to cure away. Now you guys, I'm gonna admit something here. See what happened? As I was talking, my tip slid just a little bit. I'm not going to worry too much about that because we can fill in that edge a little bit more with product if we need to, but I still think this one's going to be okay. And I'm going to go through and I'll file off this edge so that it does even it out just a little bit more. So don't panic if it does kind of slip like that. You can fill in a little bit with product on the side, okay? Not a big deal. All right, so let's go to our next nail. Same thing. We're going to take a scoop of our gel right down into the well, set that down, blend that out. And again, you guys, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, get all this great free education. We have over 3,000 different videos of education here on our Young Nails channel, so make sure that you subscribe. Take advantage of that. And again, whether you're new to doing nails, whether you are a seasoned nail tech that has been doing this for years and years, we are here for education for you guys. All right, let me slide that back to my cuticle. I'm going to check that one really quick. Same thing, let's turn on our light. We're going to freeze that into place. Now, you guys, something else that I want to show you when you are using the Touch Cure light, you can see on the trainer hand, the light, I would say, is probably about 2 to 3 inches away. When you're working on a real person, I would recommend working about 6 inches away. That way it's not going to cure the gel too fast. If you're putting that right down on the nail that close, it's going to cure that gel really, really fast, and you're probably going to end up with a heat spike. And if you guys have ever had a heat spike, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, a heat spike is basically with gel. Gel needs light to start it curing, or it needs light to fully cure, actually. So if you are putting that light really close, it starts the chemical reaction happening instantly. And so with any chemical reaction, there is a little bit of heat. So if you are working with that right up to the light, it's going to get pretty warm. And I might even say hot, okay? So if you keep the nail a little ways away, it's not going to have quite so much heat, so you're not going to feel that heat spike. So just a little suggestion, work a little bit away from the light. I would say, again, about 6 inches or so away from the light. And Belinda, thank you so much for your contribution to our channel. We appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. You are amazing. Much appreciated. All right, so this nail, again, we have everything frozen to place. So these are all kind of set. Now, I do want to go into the light to fully cure these. So I'm going to move my Touch Cure light out of the way here really quick. And then I'm going to show you what I've got. So I've got my light over here, and we're going to go into the light for a full 60-second cure. Okay, we have to make sure that that hand is in there for a full 60 seconds to make sure that our gel is fully cured. Now, when you're working on a real person, you're going to have one hand in the light while you're working on the other hand. So you're not just sitting here waiting for that one hand to cure. You are going to be working and kind of alternating back and forth. And you guys, if you are wondering, the light that I have, this is our Bling and Glam light. So it does have all of the rhinestones and all of that beautiful bling on it. This is also, we did bring this back for one more round for our sale going on right now. So if you're looking for a new curing light, we have the 2 curing lights. So it comes with 2 curing lights, and it also comes with our dust collector, which is also blinged out, as you can see. And then it also has, and I can't move my camera quite back far enough. Well, maybe I can. You can kind of see, I've got the arch light up on my table. It also has that arch light. So the arch light is also bling and glammed out. So that comes as a full kit altogether on our sale right now. It is a limited edition. So once these are sold out, they are gone. and I don't think that they are going to be coming back. So if you're looking for a great deal, that is definitely something to take advantage of. All right, I'm just going to clean off my brush and spatula. I'm going to set those off to the side. Oops, wrong way. And then we're going to take a look at our nails here. So like I said, on this one, it kind of shifted a little bit. So I'm just going to come in with my file, kind of straighten out that edge a little bit, taper that in, kind of adjust that. So if you do need to file these and kind of reshape them or anything, you can definitely do that. This one, I'm just going to kind of come through and just kind of clean up those edges. Same thing, just around that free edge. Now, if you don't need to do any tapering or customizing or anything, that is perfectly fine. But most of the time, let me come in close here so you can see. Most of the time, I always do a little bit of filing because they usually will have that little, kind of that little tag right at the end. That's just from how the tips are manufactured in the molds. So you may have to file that part off. And at this point, we're almost ready to do our glitter application, but anytime we're going to apply a gel over the top of this, just like we did underneath to remove the shine, we need to remove the shine from the surface. So I'm going to go back to my E-File here, and again, this is our portable, so we'll turn that on, and we're going to still be at that lower speed. So like I was showing you guys before, if you missed it, on mine, I've just taken a little chalk marker and just put a little line right there at the end so that I know kind of where my rotations are. So I'm going to go almost one rotation, and that's going to turn my sanding band on to about 5,000 RPMs, okay? If you go and draw another line, so you can kind of see I drew another line at the base there. That, if you do another rotation, that's going to be about, I would say about 10 to 15,000 RPMs, probably closer to 15,000. So that's going to be more for taking down bulk of your product. And so we're going to just turn that down because we're just going to be prepping right over this nail again. All right, so again, we're just going to go through and remove shine. Now here's where, if you need to, you can come through and kind of taper that back cuticle area. So if you didn't get your product or your nail all the way back to that cuticle area, or if you have a little bit of a ledge there, you can use this sanding band to kind of taper that down a little bit. So again, just kind of feathering through, just like we did when we were prepping that nail originally. Now I see I've got just a little bit of that adhesive that kind of squeezed out the edge here. I'm going to show you what to do with that. You guys, I think it's important to show you all of these little things that can possibly happen, and obviously they do happen. So I think it's very important to show you how to fix these. It's important for me to show you how to try to avoid them, but you guys, sometimes accidents happen. A little product may have gotten on the skin, so we do want to make sure that we clean that off, okay? So I'm going to show you how to take care of that in just a second here, but I'm just going to go through, finish kind of tapering around my edges, removing that shine from that nail, and flowing all the way through. So again, we want to make sure, especially around kind of these sidewalls and the edges down here, that we're removing that shine. Because if we were to, say maybe you just kind of went through and just really quickly remove shine, but you missed these edges down here, that's usually where your gel polish is going to start to lift and separate from if you do have that shine. So make sure that you come all the way around the edges, make sure that everything is shine free so that your gel is going to adhere really well. All right, and then let's turn that off. Now, I'm going to take this bit out and I'm going to exchange that for my, let me see if I can find it. This is our diamond cuticle square bit, and I love using this one up around my cuticle area, and especially here where I had just that little bit of extra product. I'm going to turn my E-File back on, still around the same speed, but this one I can use right up around that cuticle area to really make sure if I did get that little bit of product on the skin. First of all, try to clean that up before you cure it, but if you missed it, you can use the diamond cuticle square bit to really clean up around that cuticle area, okay? And I missed a tiny spot on the pinky. Somebody's saying in the chat. Okay, there we go. Clean that up. All right, so if you do miss a spot, you guys, it's okay. Go back and catch those spots. So, all righty. Now, we've got our nail prepped. It is ready to go. Now we can do our design. So we're going to dust these off one more time, making sure that they're nice and clean. Sorry, guys, I'm going to lose my voice by the time we're done here today. And I see one more little spot right up there. There we go. All right. So again, we've got our nails dusted off. Now, if you feel like you need to clean these, okay, you don't necessarily have to. I see one more little frayed edge there. Okay, you don't necessarily have to clean these because at this point, everything that's adhered to the natural nail is going to be adhered. So we don't have to worry about germs and bacteria and that kind of stuff. But if you do feel like you need to clean them, do not use the swipe at this point. Okay, swipe was what we used to cleanse that natural nail to clean off the dust and the bacteria and things. If we use swipe on our plastic tips, swipe does have a little bit of acetone to it. So swipe can do two different things on the nail. It can actually smooth this out too much, and we just took the time and effort to put that texture into the nail. We don't want our swipe to smooth this out. And the second thing, if you use way too much swipe, it can actually start to kind of soften the tip or potentially crack the tip. So if you do feel like you need to clean the nail, instead use our manicure cleanser and just a little bit. So manicure cleanser does not have any of that acetone to it, so it's not going to do anything to the texture of the nail, or it's not going to smooth out that surface at all. Okay, so if you need to cleanse it, go ahead and use the manicure cleanse. But honestly, I don't know that you have to cleanse it. I mean, you don't have to cleanse it, okay? All right, so at this point, we are gonna go back to our protein bond one more time. This is gonna, again, give our nail a really good tacky surface for our gel to adhere to. So this time, we're gonna go through just with one coat. Let me come in a little closer. So this time, we only need one coat of our protein bond. And I'm still staying away from that cuticle area, but I do start a little bit closer up to it. I don't necessarily start halfway down. You could still start halfway down, but as long as you have control and you're not getting that product on the skin, you're good to go. Okay. So again, going through all 5 nails here. Well, I guess we're only working on 4 here, but one hand all the way through, and then you can go through your second hand all the way through. And then we'll get into our design. So at this point, we've got our nails ready to go. And now you have a choice at this time. So if you prefer, you can use either the manicure base, which is just a thin, clear base coat. Okay. If you feel like you need a little bit more durability, let me see where I got here. You can use the fiber gel. And hang on one second, I just wanted to grab my clear. So fiber gel is a little bit thicker, and if I come in really close, actually I don't even need to come in really close. Well, we'll come in close. But fiber gel, you can see in there, it has little microfibers. So the gel itself, it's not dirty, you guys. It just has those little tiny pieces of fiber, those little microfibers in there. And those fibers, sorry, I'm trying to get a view without the light reflection. There you go. So those little fibers are going to add a lot more flexibility and durability. You're not going to see them once they cure. So it is going to be nice and clear. But that's for if you need a little bit more durability to the nail. I don't think we're going to need that today because we're going to be adding a couple layers with our glitter. So that's why I'm just going to use our manicure base coat. This is just a nice thin, clear base coat, and we're just really going to be using this for kind of a sticky layer. So I'm going to brush on a coat onto all 4 of these nails, and then we'll get this into the light to cure. Now, as I get up to that cuticle area, you can kind of see I press my brush down, get it to kind of fan out, and then I kind of do a little bit of a wiggle. So just kind of wiggling that up to that cuticle area and then pull down. This way I'm going to be able to get my product right up into that cuticle. Now on our nail, let's see, I think it's this, not this next one, but let me show you. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these two and just kind of freeze these into place. I'm going to use that, that Touch Cure light again. So this way, as I'm working, my product isn't going to run. You can already kind of start to see a little bit of that product kind of flowed down the end. So I'm going to smooth that out, make sure it's not puddling. But then I'm going to grab my Touch Cure light again, and we're going to just use this to kind of set that into place. So let me come back out so you can see. Whoop. All right, there we go. So again, just kind of using my Touch Cure light to just kind of set that into place. Again, I'm not fully curing it, but I want to make sure that my top or my base coat here isn't running. So just a few seconds there to freeze it into place. Because I'm going to do a little bit more work on this one, I had that little edge that I wanted to touch up because my my tip slid just a little bit. So I may take just a little bit more time on this nail. So that's why I wanted to set those other ones into place so that they're not going to run as I work on this one. So again, just kind of coming through, polishing that out. Now, if I need to add a little bit more of that base coat, but I may not be able to get that in there with that brush, I'm going to show you something here really quick. So I'm going to just take my base coat. We're going to put a little bit of that onto my mixing tile here. And then I've got my micro detailer brush. You could use the micro detailer or just the regular liner. So let me come in really close. So there is this little edge right down here that I'm trying to fill in. I can take just a little bit of that base coat, just fill that in right around that edge, and we're not going to even worry about it. Okay, we have enough product around there so that we don't have kind of a gap or anything like that, and everything is going to be fine. You can use the same technique up around that cuticle area if you need to. If maybe you started with your tip just a little bit farther away from the cuticle than you thought it was or thought it should be, you can use this technique to get right up into that cuticle area. Okay, so just kind of an easy way to touch things up if needed. And again, I'm going to just set that one into place because this has a little bit more of that product on the side. And again, I don't want it to run down into the edge or into that cuticle area. Okay. All right, you guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And then we'll finish up one last nail here with our base coat. And then we will get these into the light to fully cure. So again, brushing on just a nice thin even coat. We're not trying to really build up a lot of structure or anything like that. So just a nice smooth even coverage on there. And then we'll get these back into the light. Now we're going to cure this for, I would say, a minimum of 30 seconds. So again, we're back into the light. So a minimum of 30 seconds to freeze that into place, but really however long it takes you to work on the other hand. And in the meantime, I'm going to grab my colors here. And so again, we've got Dragon Fruit, which is our pink. We've got Crush, which is orange. And Sunshine is our yellow. And then we've got Surf, and it's the blue. And we've got Shock is our purple. All right, so we've got our colors, and I like to set them out in the order that I'm going to use them so I kind of know exactly what's going to happen next. That way there's no question about what color I'm going to be using. And our base layer is cured. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to shift these off to the side. I'm going to grab my pink. Now you can see on my nails, I've got my glitter at a slight angle. So you can apply your glitter however you want to. If you just want it to go kind of straight down the nail, you can do that. But I'm going to go a little bit at an angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just using just a little eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to tap that into the glitter and then onto the nail. Into the glitter, onto the nail, into the glitter, onto the nail. The reason that I go back and forth is because if I were to just keep touching the brush to the nail, that base coat that we've got on here, it's cured, but it does have a tacky surface, and that's what's going to hold on to our glitter. So I want to make sure that I'm not getting that tacky surface onto my brush. So that's why I always go back and forth to make sure that I've got glitter on my brush so the brush isn't sticking to that, that tacky layer. Okay, so again, tapping that glitter on there. I'm going to dust off that glitter from my brush. We'll take our second color. And you guys notice that, let me show you here another quick little speed technique. I started at the pinky, worked all the way to the pointer, and I stayed at the pointer. Now I'm just going to work backwards rather than trying to go all the way back to this. And I know it just takes like a fraction of a second, but by just staying on this one nail is going to save you a little bit of time. And you guys, those seconds do add up over time. So make sure that you're working smarter, not harder. I know we love that saying, but it's true. Okay, so again, I'm blending in my orange. And same thing on our last nail here. Grab my yellow, clean out my brush, go into our yellow, tap that on, get that blended in there. And you guys, I'm kind of overlapping the colors just a little bit, so this way I do get more of a blend rather than just what am I trying to say? Rather than just kind of a straight line in between those colors. So, and by blending them, you'll get a little bit of a different color in there as well. So you can kind of see, I wasn't sure if I had used the green glitter on my nails previously, but now that I'm seeing my yellow and my blue come together, I know that I didn't use a green. I just am getting that green from those two colors blending together. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're applying your colors. When you're blending colors, kind of think about how they sit on the color wheel. So if there's colors that are close to each other on the color wheel, they're going to blend a little bit easier than colors that may be opposite. So just kind of keep those things in mind. And then we've got our last color here, that shock. We're going to just tap that right at the end. And then again, back all the way down to our pointer finger. Now, if you like the colors as they are, you can definitely leave them as this. On my nails, I believe I did do a second coat. So we're going to go ahead and do a second coat. But before I move on, I'm going to grab my stamping tool. And you guys, this is a great way to use your stamping tool and not have to use your finger. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use that little stamping tool to really press down those glitters and make sure that they're nice and set down into that top coat. So this is going to help to give you a little bit more of a smooth finish when you are done with the nail. So again, just kind of pressing those glitters down into that tacky surface. And then if you need to, you can come back around, kind of dusting off a little bit of that extra glitter from around the edges, just to kind of clean things up before we actually go into the light. And just kind of checking, make sure that we've got our color where we want it. Okay, now we're gonna put this back into the light just for maybe, I would say maybe a 10-second freeze or so. So this way it's gonna actually freeze that glitter into that tacky surface. Now, yes, the tacky surface was cured out, but this just really kind of grips in. So your glitter's not gonna smudge or smear. So just really quick, 10 seconds or so. Now, like I was saying, you can leave this with one coat if you want just one coat. If you want a second coat, we're just going to add in one more coat of our base color, or just our base, sorry, our manicure base. We're going to do another thin layer of this, and then we'll do a second coat of the glitter. Again, you guys, you could do one coat if you like it just a little bit kind of this more subtle, or if you want a little bit more bold, you can always add that second coat. And we'll just get a nice thin application. I'm not super concerned about getting this second layer absolutely perfect. As long as I've got that sticky layer all the way through, you're going to be good. Now, we're going to go back into the light again. And this is going to go in for another 30 seconds. And then we'll do that same exact application all over again. And do you guys want to see a little bit more sparkle? Let me know in the chat. Do we want more sparkle, or are we good with just the colors here? Yeah, just let me know in the chat. Do you want more sparkle, or are we good? Let me know. I think I know what you're going to tell me, but Yes, more. Liking how this looks. More, always more sparkle. Okay, you guys, I can't not do more sparkle. So we're going to do our second coat. And then I am going to add in the Mylars, which are going to really make this nail shine. So again, we're just going to go into our colors here. Same application, just like before. Quick and easy. Let me grab my orange, clean out my brush. Grab that orange, tapping all the way through. Tapping all the way through. You guys make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want more glitter. That's our trade today. If you guys want to see more glitter, you got to hit that subscribe button. How's that? All right, we got our yellow, and again, this is sunshine. Blending that together. Coming all the way through all of our nails. And you guys, you can see on my nails, I did add a couple of accent nails that are just the soft, a soft pink color. You can go all the way through with all of the glitters. I don't remember where I ended here, but I think we're good. Or you can add those little bit more subtle accents in there. It's just up to you how you want your nails to look, how you want your sets to look. If you want to be really bold, do your glitters on all of the nails. If you want it a little bit more toned down, then you can add maybe those softer pink accents or even just another solid color accent. You guys make it your own. See what you like and see what works for you, see what works for your clients, and just get creative and have fun. All right, same thing. I'm gonna grab my, I'm gonna grab my little cleaner for my stamping tool. I'm going to clean off that extra dust. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at how pretty that looks. So just going to clean that off, and then we'll go back and press those glitters on there, make sure everything is set down in to that tacky surface. We'll get this into the light one more time. Let me just give it a quick dust around if we need to. All right, you guys, I think just for time's sake, I'm going to add the Mylar to one of these nails rather than all of them. But this way you guys will actually see the process, and then you can do all of yours on your own, okay? And you guys, if you do take these inspirations and create your own designs, make sure you post them and tag us. Tag Young Nails so that we can see what you're doing and that you are recreating them. So we'd love to see it. So definitely make sure to tag us, okay? All right, I've got my glitters closed up. So our nail is at least kind of set into place. And I'm going to find my base coat again and my Mylar. Now, Mylar, if you weren't here from the beginning, I did take a bunch of our different colors of Mylar. So I have all of my little colors of Mylar in my tray here. And I take a few, or just like a little bit of all of them, and I put those down into the end here. So I just create kind of a custom mix of all of my different colors. So this way I don't have to really pick and choose. I've got everything all mixed together here, so I can just grab from that. So let's go ahead and we'll do an accent nail here on our ring finger for just a little bit more brightness. And we're going back to our base gel, so our manicure base. I'm going to apply a nice even coat of our base. Now, this is the challenge when you're just working over the surface of your press-on tips. You want to make sure that you're picking pieces of that Mylar, actually let me do this, that are going to sit flat. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll even just take some of that and just kind of sprinkle it onto my little tile down here. So this way I can kind of pick and choose what pieces I want, and maybe even just some smaller pieces. So let me come in a little closer. If you have pieces that are too big and too chunky, they're going to kind of poke out a little bit, and you don't want that. You don't want any texture to this. So all I'm doing is just using my liner brush here. This is actually the micro detailer. You can use whatever brush or even an orange wood stick to pick up these little pieces, set them down into the nail. So this one I actually feel like it's kind of poke up too much, so I'm going to take that one off. I didn't want that one on there. So just setting those down into the wet base coat and just kind of seeing where your colors are sitting. And just adding wherever you feel like you want a little bit more reflection. Now, see how as I work, I kind of rotate that finger. This is going to help to show me where that color is reflecting, because sometimes when you're working with these Mylars, you don't actually see them until the light hits them. So kind of give it a little rotation and make sure that you've got Mylar wherever you want that. And I think we're good here. I'm going to get this back into the light, or I could actually just use that touch cure light, and I could use that to set this into place. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to set that into place, just again for maybe 10 seconds or so, just to freeze that base coat so that it hangs on to those Mylar pieces. And that was about 10 seconds, so we're good there. I'm going to come back to my manicure base. We're going to do another coat over. And this first coat is going to help to seal in that Mylar. And I use this a little bit on the thicker side, but not so thick that it's going to run everywhere, okay? So I'm not using a lot of pressure as I'm brushing that out, just enough to kind of not quite float, but almost float the product on. And one more time, I'm going to use my Touch Cure light to kind of freeze this into place so that it doesn't run, it doesn't move, but it is going to seal in those pieces of Mylar. Okay. And, oh, actually, you guys, I forgot. That's all right. We'll go ahead and finish the rest of these nails. So now at this point, those of you that know what time it is, you know what time it is. It's top coat time. So we're going to seal these nails. Now, the ones with the Mylar in, I did an extra coat of the base coat. I like how thick the base coat is, so I feel like the base coat does tend to kind of seal in the Mylar a little bit more. On the rest of these, I'm going to do 2 coats of top coat. So I'm going to do a coat of top coat on the Mylar, but I'm going to do 2 coats of top coat on all of these to really make sure that everything gets a good seal. And that way, that first coat of top coat is going to kind of seal in that glitter. The second coat is going to give it a really nice smooth finish. Now again, if you need to do another coat here on this one, you can do 2 coats of the top coat. I'm going to kind of play it by ear and see, but I do need at least 1 coat of top coat on that. So again, 1 coat of top to seal in that glitter, and then the second coat is going to give you a beautiful, smooth, shiny finish. And we'll get this one into the light, and I'm going to do a 30-second cure on this one. This one I probably wouldn't use just the touch cure light. I want to make sure that everything is curing all the way through. And I'm just going back, making sure that none of my top coat moved at all. All right, let me get this into the light. Again, this is going to go in for another 30 seconds. And then we're going to do 1 more coat of our top coat, and we'll finish up the nails. All right, you guys, one more time, make sure you hit that subscribe button while we're waiting for this to cure. Make sure you don't miss out on all of the free education that we offer. Somebody's asking, how long should this last? If you take care of these, because we are putting extra product over the top, they are going to last you a good amount of time. Again, because we've got the product over the top, these are a little bit more of a long-term set. You can definitely fill these. Just kind of depends on how you take care of them. But yes, a set like this, adhered with gel and put gel on top, these are definitely going to last you a good amount of time. And yes, you could fill them in, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks or so. Now, if you're just working with maybe gluing the full cover tips on with just an air dry glue, then it's going to be a little bit more of a temporary service. But something like this where we are applying it with gel and we are getting kind of a little bit more strength and structure over the top with the gel, this is definitely going to be something that is going to be a little bit more long-term, or could be worn long-term. All right, this one is going to go into the light now for a full 60 seconds. And then we will take that out. Now, when this does come out of the light, it is going to have a tacky finish to it, just like we were putting that glitter into. But at this point, we want to make sure that we're cleansing the tacky surface off. So we're going to use the Manicure Cleanser. to remove that tacky surface. Remember how I was talking earlier that your swipe does have a little acetone, so you want to make sure that you're not overusing the swipe on this, so that's why I would highly recommend using the Manicure cleanser rather than the swipe. Swipe could potentially dull the shine if you use too much of it. So Manicure cleanser doesn't have any of that acetone to it, so it's going to cleanse off that tacky surface and leave a beautiful high shine to these nails. So we've got just a few more seconds in the light. So we're going to cleanse them, and then, let me see if I can find it. I may go back with my 150 file buffer combo just to really kind of quickly check my edges. So we're going to cleanse those nails, get all that tacky finish off of there. And you guys, this is also going to help to clean off any of that maybe residual glitter. Oops, don't take off your client's whole finger. But this can help to clean off some of that residual glitter around their fingers. And I'm going to grab another wipe. Sometimes I will go through with 2, maybe even 3 of our lint-free wipes. I keep sliding that one off there. But I really want to make sure that the nails are nice and clean so that you're not leaving any of that tacky finish on their nails. All right, so we've got that nice and clean. Now, if I need to, I can come back, like I was saying, with my 150 grit file buffer combo. If you feel any of that glitter kind of around the edges, you can come back through and just kind of clean up those edges, either with that file edge or the buffer. And this is why I really like this file buffer combo, because sometimes you need a little bit more of that file to kind of clean up around the edges, but then after I file, I like to just flip over and use the buffer to really smooth that out. Sometimes you may just use the buffer. You may not need that file, but it's a great tool to have when you're doing a set like this, because you may need one side or both sides, and you don't have to stop and put your tool down and grab another one. You just have both of those file and buffer all in one. All right, you guys, let me get a little bit of that extra glitter off of there. Make sure to dust those off. And let me get you guys an up-close view of these beautiful springy, summery nails. There we go. All right. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure that you, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, join our community, get all of this great free education. And you guys, let me know, is this something that you think you could do either on yourself or for your clients, nice and easy? Let me know. I want to know what you think. But you guys, again, thank you so much for joining us today. We will be back. Usually we're here Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so make sure subscribe to our channel, set those notifications so that you can join us and you don't miss out on all of the great free education. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you next time.